Vanakkam. Welcome to the Yogic Lens, a channel to understand the principles of yogic practices. Today we are going to see a popular pranayama called Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, otherwise called alternate nostril breathing or Anulom-Vilom. The focus of today's video is to understand what is Nadi Shodhana, the etymology, the definition behind it, why we need to do Nadi Shodhana, to understand the positive effect on your physical, physiological and mental body and at the spiritual level. Also to understand what happens at the subtler levels of your brain. And how and when to do this pranayama. What scriptures recommend regarding the length of the breath, the ratios in which you have to do it and the number of times you need to repeat it. And then finally we'll see what are the contraindication, who has to do it, who should not do it, and what is the effect on the body when you do in a certain way. Nadi Shodhana. Shodhana means cleansing. This practice cleanses your nadis. So what are nadis? Nadis are channels that carries prana in your system. Now, what is prana? Prana is nothing but vital force or vital energy that runs throughout your body. Like how you have blood running through arteries and veins, this prana is running throughout your body using these nadis as channels. So when you dissect your body, you will not be able to see because these nadis are running at the subtler level on your Sukshma Sarira. Now, for example, consider a farmland. When you want to water, irrigate different crops with different quantity of water, what do they make? They make kind of furrows, which is called varappu in Tamil. So, appropriate amount of water is reaching the crops at the particular level. Likewise, these nadis are channels that carry appropriate amount of prana throughout your body. Ancient Hatha Yoga text Thirumandiram by Thirumandiram talks about 72,000 nadis that runs in your system. Another ancient text, Hatha Yoga Pratipika by Swatma Rama, talks about cleansing the nadis before any yogic practices using this practice called Nadi Shodhana Pranayama. Now, this pranayama is also called as alternate nostril breathing because you're breathing through the nostrils. Even otherwise we all breathe through the nostrils, right? Nobody has to teach us how to breathe through the nostrils. But here there is a controlled breath. Prana yama. Yama means control. So you are able to control the length of the breath, how much amount you have to inhale, how much you have to hold and how much you have to exhale. So when it comes to a controlled pattern, then it becomes a pranayama. Say for example, water flowing through a pipe. We are again circling back to the same irrigation example. When you reduce the cross section of the pipe, it takes longer time to fill a particular tank. Similar manner, we are actually closing one nostril and trying to do a longer breath by reducing the area of cross section in which you are taking the air inside your body. So here you are not only increasing the length of the breath but also channelizing your prana to appropriate places in your body. You are closing one nostril, inhaling through one other and then channelizing the breath, channelizing the prana thereby and then releasing the breath through the other nostrils. So hence the name alternate nostril breathing. Another name for this pranayama is called Anuloma-Viloma Pranayama or Anulom-Vilom. If you are hearing this for the first time, you will be surprised to know how people name things like the etymology behind it. Loma means hair. Your nostrils have hair in it. This is to filter the impurities from the air that you are inhaling through. Anu means to follow. So here the air follows the direction of the hair. That means it's exhalation. When you are doing the inhalation, it is V-loma. V means which is not normal or something special. So V-loma means against the direction of the hair. So when you are inhaling, it is actually the air is flowing against the direction of the hair. So then it is called Viloma. Hence the name Anulom-Vilom Pranayama. To understand why we need to do Nadi Shodhana, we need to learn a bit of science behind it. We need to understand our nervous system, the part of the nervous system that triggers involuntary actions, which is autonomic nervous system or ANS. This ANS is operated with two helping hands. One is the sympathetic nervous system, the other is the parasympathetic nervous system. These are like two Dwara Balagargal at the entrance of temple. When one person is active, the other guy is passive. He won't come into the picture. They both are antagonistic. So, when there is a stressful situation in life, your sympathetic nervous system is activated and that increases your heartbeat, your pulse rate increases, perspiration happens, all these things happens on its own. At the same time, when parasympathetic nervous system is activated, you are very calm, composed and able to handle the situation in a controlled manner, in an organized manner. Let me give you another example at the physical level. Parasympathetic nervous system is the one that helps your digestive process. It is the one that moves your feces out of the intestine. At the same time, when your sympathetic nervous system is activated, it has the tendency to retain the feces inside your intestine, creating constipation. So in general, that doesn't mean that sympathetic nervous system is bad for you. The balance of both is what helps your functional organs. For example, even balancing the blood pressure is done by the help of both sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So a proper balance is what we are trying to achieve here. Nadi Shodhana Pranayama brings that balance in your system. A yogi can have a controlled reactions to these involuntary triggers from the ANS. He can have a balanced mind, a kind of an evenness in the mind. The very definition of yoga, as per Bhagavad Gita, is Samatvam Yoga Ushyate, meaning evenness of mind is yoga. So that balance is brought about when you are in the practice of Nadi Shodhana on a daily basis. So you are able to tap into the inner layers of the mind and bring a balance not only to a physical level, physiological level, but also at the mental level. So this is one important reason why we need to do Nadi Shodhana. There is another reason at the spiritual level. Practicing Nadi Shodhana is like a stepping stone for somebody who want to evolve spiritually, who want to get into the spiritual ring. We talked about the 72,000 nadis in our system, in our subtler body, of which there are three important nadis. The Ida Nadi, which is the channel for moon energy, the Pingala Nadi, which is the channel for your solar energy, and then you have the Sushumna Nadi, which is the channel for divine cosmic energy. As you see in this picture, the Ida Nadi and the Pingala Nadi runs on either side of your central Nadi, the Sushumna Nadi. The point where all three nadis meet are called chakras. Chakras are energy vortices in your body. So when you practice Nadi Shodhana on a regular basis, then there are certain influences that happens in your body in stages. The first stage, you get a balanced sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, which brings a evenness in your mind. This is the first stage. At the second stage, impurities in the nadis are cleared. It is believed that the nadis, channels, get rid of all the impurities, allowing the prana to move freely in your body, in your subtler body. So this is the second stage. And the third stage, for evolved yogis who practice it with complete dedication and who practice it as per the Hatha Yoga scriptures and with the supervision of the Guru, the prana start moving through the Sushumna Nadi. That's when evolved state happens and one attains a deep state of meditation, which is called as Samadhi, which is the 8th Anga of the Ashtanga Yoga part. Till now we understood why we need to do Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, the importance of it. Now we will see how to do Nadi Shodhana. What is the best ratio to start with and build it up? What is the ratio recommended by Hatha Yoga texts? And we will also see the contraindication, who should do it, who should not do it. Any pranayama has got 4 components to it. The first part is the inhalation, which is called puraka. The exhalation is called the rechaka, which is the second component. And then there is 2 other components for a pranayama, which is the antarkumbhaka, which is the holding part after the inhalation, and the bahya kumbhaka, which is holding your breath after the exhalation. A pranayama is complete only when there is kumbhaka to it. Kumbhaka means holding the breath in between. That's when your mind comes to a state of stillness. When the body is in a state of stillness, your breath in a state of stillness, mind also comes to a state of stillness. So, any pranayama should have all these 4 components: puraka, antarkumbhaka, rechaka and bahya kumbhaka, holding after the exhalation. While you do any pranayama, we hold mudras in the hand. Mudras means gestures that you use your hand or body parts. Mostly for pranayama practice, we use hand gestures. This is kind of a way to contain the prana within our body. Yoga Yajnavalkya Samhita, chapter 4, talks about how prana dissipates from our body. It is believed that prana dissipates 12 inches away from your physical body. The goal of the pranayama practices is to keep this prana, contain this prana within this 12 inches and not allowing it to dissipate beyond that 12 inches. Any yogi, any person who practices pranayama has the ability to keep this prana contained within this 12 inches. Now, coming back to mudras. For Nadi Shodhana, we hold Chin Mudra on the left hand and Mrigi Mudra on the right hand. So, Chin Mudra, you connect your thumb and the index finger. And for Mrigi Mudra or Vishnu Mudra, you bend the index and the middle finger. In Mrigi Mudra, the rest of the fingers are gently curved. This looks like a Mrigi. Mrigi means deer. So, this helps to control your nostrils. If you are completely new to pranayama practices and you're new to mudras, you can even start with like holding the thumb and the index finger to start with and slowly build your capacity to keep the mudras intact in your hand. So, to start with the Nadi Shodhana practice, you empty your lungs first, close the right nostril with your thumb, inhale through the left nostrils, and then close the left nostril with your ring finger and exhale through the right nostril. This is simple basics of the Nadi Shodhana. You have inhaled through the left, exhale through the right. To complete the cycle, you will inhale through the right and then exhale through the left. That finishes one cycle of Nadi Shodhana. But here we have used only 2 components of the pranayama, inhale and then exhale. Any pranayama should have a kumbhaka to it. So, you have to introduce a holding after the inhalation. So, how do you do that? You inhale through the left nostril, hold the breath by closing both sides of the nostril with your thumb and the ring finger, and then exhale through the right. Then you will inhale through the right nostril, again hold the breath and then exhale through the left. So, this is the second stage where you actually introducing a antarkumbhaka, holding after the inhalation. Practices differ based on what level are you in. If you are a beginner, it's best to start with just 2 components and then slowly introduce the inhale hold part. And then advanced level, you will also introduce the hold after the exhalation. So, the level 1, just inhale and exhale. Level 2, you will introduce a holding part, inhale, hold and then exhale. And in the third level, you will do inhale and then hold, exhale and then again hold. So, that is you are introducing all the 4 components at the third level. And advanced level of practice, you can incorporate bandhas into the practice. Bandhas are kind of a neuromuscular lock that you incorporate into your body part. That is a entirely big subject, we will talk about that in a different video. So now we are going to see what is the best length of the breath, what is the ratio that we need to follow. If you are a beginner in yogic practices, if you are a beginner in Nadi Shodhana, you have to start with the comfortable length. Length, what I mean by length is the length in which like you are inhaling and exhaling. Say for example, you are inhaling for 3 seconds or 2 seconds. You are exhaling for 4 seconds. That is the length of the breath. And then the ratio is, say for example, if you are inhaling for 2 seconds and exhaling for 4 seconds, that is your ratio. 1:2 is your ratio. So these two has to be at a very optimum level when you start the practice. Yoga Sutras of Patanjali talks about the different components, the characteristics and qualities of a pranayama. Chapter 2, Sutra 50 talks about Bahya Abhyantara Stamba Vritti Desha Kala Sankhyabi Paridrishtaha Dirgha Sukshmaha. Bhagya, which is the exhalation, Abhyantara, which is the inhalation, and Stamba means the Kumbhaka part, the holding part. So all these things has to be done with 3 important characteristics, that is Desha, Kala and Sankhya. Desha is the place where you give your focus on. In Nadi Shodhana, it is the nostril region. And then you have the Kala, the time period, the length of the breath, and the Sankhya, how many times you are repeating that. All these things has to be practiced with 2 important qualities. The pranayama has to be dirgha, that means it has to be delivered long, at the same time very slow. And then it has to be subtle. It has to be very soft. It should not come with a force. So assuming like you are practicing to do a dirgha pranayama, you are trying to do a long inhalation and then you are holding, and then if you are exhaling long but then with so much of force, then that is not the quality that they are talking about. It has to be long, at the same time it has to be subtle. It has to be delivered without any interruption or without gushing of air that is coming out. You would have heard about father of modern yoga, Sri Krishnamacharya. He used to practice with a oil lamp, with a velakku in front of him. So when he exhales, he will make sure that the flame doesn't flicker. So this is like a kind of a practice that he does to make his exhalation very subtle and long. So you have to start with the right length of the breath. If your comfortable inhalation capacity is 3 seconds, start with 3 seconds. If your comfortable exhalation capacity is 4 seconds, then start with 4 seconds. Slowly we need to build it up using the Kumbhaka as a tool. So you inhale for 3 seconds, you do the holding part, exhale for so many seconds, how much ever you are comfortable with. Over a period of time, what happens? Your inhalation capacity improves due to this inhale hold. The inhale hold, the Antar Kumbhaka, is the factor that will work on lengthening your inhalation. Similarly, after you get familiarized with this 3 component pranayama, then in order to improve your exhalation, you will start introducing an exhale hold. So this exhale hold is the tool or the component that will help you to improve your exhalation. Let us now see what scriptures recommend with respect to the ratio and the length of the breath. Hatha Yoga text, Tamil text, Thirumandiram by Thirumandiram also talks about this ratios. In this text, chapter 5 talks about pranayama practices. As you see in this song 568, ஏறுதல் பூரகம் ஈரெட்டு வாமத்தால் ஆறுதல் கும்பம் 64 ஊறுதல் 32 ரேசம் மாறுதல் ஒன்றின் கண் வஞ்சகமாமே. Here ஏறுதல் பூரகம் ஈரெட்டு வாமத்தால், ஈர் 8, that is 2 into 8, 16 matras of inhalation. ஆறுதல் கும்பம் 64, 64 matras of holding the breath. ஊறுதல் 32 ரேசம், so 32 matras of exhalation. Matras are a different unit of measurement in ancient Tamil tradition. It is being believed that 4 matras makes 1 second. So when they say 16 matras of inhalation, what they mean is 4 seconds of inhalation. And when they say 64 matras of holding, that means like 16 seconds of holding part. And then 32 matras of exhalation, which is nothing but 8 seconds of exhalation, which also coincides with the classical ratio that we talked about, 1:4:2. And then if you are holding after the exhalation, then there will be like, one part of holding after the exhalation. Now we will see how many times we need to repeat each and every cycle and how many times in a day we need to practice. This is also recommended in the Hatha Yoga text. Hatha Yoga Pratipika talks about repeating Nadi Shodhana Pranayama or practicing Nadi Shodhana Pranayama 4 times every day. When the morning meets noon, noon meets evening, and evening meets night, and the night meets the early morning. So 4 times a day Nadi Shodhana is recommended. This is for people like, who are like want to evolve them spiritually and who want to cleanse the nadis. This is what is recommended. If 4 times is not possible, even doing 2 times a day will be more helpful at the physical and the physiological level. For one has to like, transform themselves to a spiritual level. This is what is recommended by the text, 4 times. And each and every time, Hatha Yoga Pratipika recommends 80 breaths. So if you inhale through the left nostril and exhale through the right, that is 1 breath. And inhale through the right nostril and exhale through the left, that is another breath. So one cycle has 2 breaths, right? So when they say 80 breath, you have to do 40 cycles of Nadi Shodhana 4 times a day. This is what is recommended by Hatha Yoga Pratipika. Let us now look at what are all the contraindications for Nadi Shodhana. Nadi Shodhana can be done by anyone. If you are doing with the comfortable length of breath and if you are doing with your own comfortable retention of breath, you don't have to worry about anything. But in general, if you are having certain health conditions in the body, say for example, like, if you are having high BP, hypertension which is not under control, or if you are having any heart condition, then you have to take little more care. You have to do it with the supervision of your teacher and slowly build your capacity. If you are having high BP, hypertension, then it is best to avoid long inhale holds. That is the Antarkumbhaka. So that will further increase your blood pressure. So what you can do is you can inhale and then have a small pause and then do the exhalation. And then if you want, you can add the 4th component again, like, a small pause. But the classical ratio of 1:4:2, where you inhale for say 4 seconds and holding for 4 times or even 3 times, that is completely not recommended for people who are having high BP. But you can still, who are having low BP, that are like, people who are feeling like, less energized, like, they feel like, they don't have any energy in the body, they should avoid long exhalation. Because when you do long exhalation, the classical way, that is twice that of your inhalation, your parasympathetic nervous system activates in the body, that has the tendency to calm yourself and kind of like, relaxes your entire body, both at the physical level and the mental level. So if you are already having low BP, this will tend to reduce the blood pressure drastically. So one has to avoid long exhalation if you are having low BP, or if you are like, feeling very less energized. At that time, you can do Samavritti Pranayama, meaning equal amount of inhale and equal amount of exhale. So this is like something like, you need to understand, like if you understand what is the influence in your body with respect to each and every component, then accordingly you can do the pranayama based on your needs. For example, the inhale and the holding part, it energizes your body. It actually triggers your sympathetic nervous system and activates and brings like, good amount of energy into your system. So if you are feeling very tired and like, you're not ready for the day, you're already feeling very lethargic in the morning, then you have to focus more on the inhalation and the inhalation hold. At the same time, end of the day, if you like to relax, if you like to cool the body, if you like to relax the muscles, then you have to give more exhalation. So you will focus on longer exhalation, maybe twice that of your inhalation. That will trigger your parasympathetic nervous system and calm you down. If you are like aiming to kind of cleanse your digestive system, if you are like working on like burning the impurities, then your focus is on hold after exhale. When you hold after exhale, when you introduce that fourth component, not only there are like lot of spiritual benefit, that's what like people do, that hold up fourth component, but then like there are also physical benefit which actually works on cleansing your colon, which actually removes the impurities, the toxins from your body. So when you hold after exhale, especially like when you use bandhas into that, then after that like it acts like a cleansing of the impurities. So various components of the Nadi Shodhana works on different influences in the body, thereby you will get the benefit accordingly at every level. There are several techniques to advance your Nadi Shodhana practice. Let us talk about those advanced techniques in our next video regarding how to build your ratios, how to increase the length of the breath, and how to incorporate bandhas into your practice. So, if you are interested in similar videos about yogic principles, please do subscribe to this channel with the bell icon so that you will be notified when the next video comes in. Thank you for watching.